been on every ride and seen every show at Hong Kong Disneyland, and I'm taking you with me through a journey through all of them. Let's rank every attraction at Hong Kong Disneyland. Hello, it's me again, but this time at home. To help me in Hong Kong talk about all the rides of Hong Kong Disneyland. And there are quite a lot, 27 to be exact, and we're gonna get through all of them. Now, typically for a ranking video, I would go from our lowest ranked to our highest ranked, but because I figured a lot of you might not be super familiar with Hong Kong Disneyland, we're gonna go land by land and just give each ride a woo or a meh. I will be revealing, however, the top 5 rides in Hong Kong Disneyland, and we're talking some of the best rides in the entire world of any Disney rides, of any rides anywhere. So stay tuned for that. On Main Street, USA, we are gonna start with the first ride you'll see when you enter the park, and that is the Hong Kong Disneyland Railroad. Like any Disneyland style park around the world, Hong Kong Disneyland does have its own railroad. There are only 2 stops on this railroad from Main Street to Fantasyland, but you do circumnavigate, I think both would work, the entire park. So it is a little bit of a tour of the park. This is a woo! Even though it's not the most exciting ride in the world, it is a woo. My dog has decided it's squeaky toy time. You should line up for Hong Kong Disneyland Railroad if you're looking for a rest or to take in the view, or just to get an idea of how the park is laid out. It can be super helpful for that. But you should pass up on this one if you're in a rush or have bigger fish to fry. It is a nice scenic ride, but it's not a speedy one. You can probably walk where you want to get a little bit faster than it would take to ride the railroad. Next up, as you enter the park, you'll encounter the Main Street vehicles. Now, Main Street vehicles are another classic to a Disneyland style park. We see them all over the world, Magic Kingdom, Disneyland, you've seen them. These are typically vintage, actually authentic, old vehicles that ride up and down Main Street from the train station to the castle and vice versa. Gives you a little bit of a ride up Main Street. It is charming, it is sweet, and it's classic and historic. It's also not the most exciting thing in the world. This is probably one of my lowest ranks. It's getting a meh. I think they are the most charming ride in a Disney park. There's nothing like getting a little bit of a different vantage point on Main Street USA, waving at other people as you drive by, and just having a relaxing little trip down the road instead of walking. I love a Main Street vehicle. They're so nostalgic. But probably not the most exciting thing in the world to ride a double-decker bus. Actually, I love a double-decker bus. Line up for it if you're an enthusiast of that sort of thing, but pass up if, again, you're in a rush or have bigger fish to fry. It's a really cute attraction, one of my favorites and a quintessential Disneyland park experience for me, so I love doing this, but it is not, I think, a must-do, as much as it pains me to say. All right, now this one I would put in the top 10 must-dos of Hong Kong Disneyland, and that is the Duffy and Friends Playhouse. This is located on Main Street, and it is a location for a meet and greet. You can meet Duffy and Friends. It varies who you'll see there depending on when you go, but you might meet Duffy or Lena Bell or Stella Lou or Shelly May. Any of the Duffy pals can be there. Now, typically when I talk attractions, I don't talk about meet and greets, but Hong Kong Disneyland is a little bit different, and this is the most popular attraction in the park. For reference, right now, the longest line in the park is the newest attraction in the park, Wandering Oaken's Sliding Sleighs in World of Frozen. That has a 35-minute wait. Both Duffy and Lena Bell have 225-minute waits. That's almost 4 hours. So they're pretty big here. That said, I do love these meet and greets. They are so cute and heartwarming, and I see why they're beloved by kids and by adults who connect with the characters. I certainly love them. I just do not think that a meet and greet is ever going to be worth more than an hour, and that's only for your most like magnum opus meet and greet there is. But people are waiting 4 hours to meet Duffy and Lena Bell in their new 20th anniversary outfits, and I respect them for that, and I hope they're hydrating. You should line up for this if you have never met a Duffy friend. This is a quintessential Disney Parks Asia experience. Duffy and Friends are very popular in the Asian parks, and I think it really is a must-do to experience these characters in a way that you cannot in the Western parks. So I do think this is a must-do for that reason. It is so important to the Hong Kong parks that Duffy and Friends are there. But I do think you can pass up if you're not a big meet and greet fan, or if the line is egregious. These lines are ridiculous, honestly, and I'd be hard pressed to wait 45 minutes for a meet and greet, much less 225 minutes. Are you kidding? Who do I look like? Who do you think you are? I am. That didn't even make sense in this context. That's how that meet and greet wait time makes me feel. Top 5 alert. We got a top 5 alert. Top 5 alert in the house. Momentous. Party in the Sky. Momentous is Hong Kong Disneyland's nighttime spectacular. It happens at the castle. Castle of Magical Dreams, and it is an incredible nighttime spectacular. Super emotional, lots of like family messages in there, just really tugs at your heartstrings. And what's so awesome about this nighttime show is that you get fireworks, you get projections on the castle, you also get lasers and fountains involved. So this show rules just because there's so much going on. I love this show. I think it's an absolute must-do in Hong Kong, especially now that it has the addition of drones at the start of the show and projections all the way up and down Main Street. So just a really, really cool show with a ton of super high-tech effects. You really don't want to miss this one. That said, it does have a couple issues. One, I will say, is that it's a little long now with the drone additions, and the drones are kind of the biggest jaw-dropping part, and it happens right at the beginning, so it can really drag. And because Hong Kong Disneyland is so close to the airport, they can't really shoot off any really high, big fireworks. So the fireworks are all on the smaller side. They're still gonna look big from the ground, but you won't see any of those Magic Kingdom style fireworks, if you know what I mean. Pretty much everybody should line up for this one. This is in the top 5 alerts, so we're gonna call this a universal line up. It's in our top 5. Everyone should do this one outside of exceptions, like fireworks making you uncomfortable. It's just something that's a must-see and really important to the Hong Kong Disneyland experience. Let's head into Adventureland, where the first attraction we'll come across is actually a show. Moana, a homecoming celebration. This is a very small stage show, which like most Hong Kong Disneyland attractions, we got the squeaker back. The squeaker is back. It's a different squeaker. She went and got it from the living room. The Moana show is cute. Tells the story of Moana. Obviously, kiddos get excited to see Moana. So I think this is a great addition to Adventureland, especially because Adventureland here is a little sparse. Like they don't have pirates, for instance, as you may have noticed in this video. The show is super cute, but there are a lot of much better shows in Hong Kong Disneyland. So I just don't think this is a priority unless you've got like a mega Moana obsessed kiddo. In that case, you know, you should see the Moana show. Like most Hong Kong Disneyland attractions, this show is in a mix of English and Cantonese. So you'll be able to understand whichever language you speak, and you can kind of gather from context clues what the other language is saying. So it's a really effective system. English is an official language in Hong Kong, so it's actually super easy to navigate Hong Kong as an English speaker, way easier than the other Asian Disney parks. So that could be a little plus if you're feeling a little bit nervous about international travel and being out of your depth culturally and with the language. I totally understand that anxiety. Hong Kong is great for it. The show, great example of it in both Cantonese and English. I've got another top 5 alert for you with Jungle River Cruise. Yes, this is like Jungle Cruise, but they put river in the name as well. Jungle Cruise, so much fun. Easily one of the best rides in the park for sure. Jokes and Boats is the name of the game here. You ride a boat through the rivers of the world as a very funny skipper tells you jokes. And you might be concerned, because obviously we're in Hong Kong, are the jokes in English if you're an English speaker? The answer is yes. So depending on the time of year that you come, you might see that there's an English line and a Cantonese line. You can get in line for the English-speaking boat and have an English-speaking skipper, or you can ride in Cantonese. I read this in the off-season. There were not 2 separate lines, and the skipper swapped back and forth between Cantonese and English, and I also thought that was a really cool experience. So if you happen to be here when that's happening, I actually do recommend it too, because it was so neat. Because, you know, I can understand some of the jokes and not others, but it was just really cool to see the skipper kind of in his element, swapping between his 2 languages. It was awesome. This Jungle Cruise is also great because the jokes are great, the skippers are great, and the ending is a lot more exciting than our Jungle Cruise. There are some effects that I think are a bit shocking, including some water explosions, some fire effects. It's a lot more dramatic at the end here, and the skippers are still very funny through that drama. So this is hands down the best Jungle Cruise I've been on. I love this one. It's awesome. Now remember, this is a top 5 attraction, which means it is a universal must-do. Line up for this one. You won't regret it. Adventureland is also home to a show with Festival of the Lion King, but Disney Worlders and Disneylanders, this is not the Festival of the Lion King you're used to. Me and these 8,000 other people just got out of Festival of the Lion King. Super cool. I was expecting it to be pretty similar to Orlando's version. Was not at all. Instead of it being like a celebration, sort of more like a variety act concert, it was a retelling of the story, which I preferred. It still had some aerialist dancing, although a little bit less. Didn't have tumble monkeys, so that was a big miss, but it did have a giant hyena dance break, which I enjoyed immensely. The fire element was different, where it's a solo fire spinner in Orlando, which was awesome. There were 2 fire spinners, and then like a lot of the dancers were holding fire torches, and it was a whole fight scene between Simba and Scar, which was honestly dope. So this, unfortunately, is my preferred Festival of the Lion King, one that I do not have access to without flying 24 hours. So that's good for me. You should line up for this one if you want an indoor stage show with Broadway level performers. They are absolutely fantastic. Look at this cameo. You should pass up for this one if you are prioritizing rides. Festival of the Lion King is a huge time suck and it is not our #1 show. If you only do one show, there's one very big show I'm going to recommend. It's not this one. Still a great show, so it's definitely worth doing. It's gonna give it a woo from me. Next, let's pop into Toy Story Land. Yes, Hong Kong Disneyland has a Toy Story Land. It is very different from the Toy Story Land that I'm used to at my home park in Disney World. No footage of me on this one because you absolutely cannot take footage on RC Racers. This is probably the most thrilling ride in the park. It's actually pretty simple. You ride an RC and you go up one side and then over to the other side and up. I rode this one last time I was here. It's definitely thrilling. It's not my favorite because it doesn't have a lot to it, but this park doesn't really have any other thrill rides besides like maybe Hyperspace Mountain, so it fills an important niche. Line up for this one if you're into thrills and you want something fast and exhilarating, but pass up on this one if you're not into the repetitive rides that don't have a ton of theming to them. And keep listening to that pass up because it's going to be relevant for all of the Toy Story Land rides. Speaking of which, next up we have Toy Soldier Parachute Drop. Similar to RC Racers, they're pretty strict about building on this one. But this is the Soldier Parachute ride. I think it's Toy Soldier Parachute Drop. You actually drop. It's like a little bit of a baby drop zone. It does not drop you super fast, but it's still thrilling. Ready? I like this one. The big problem with it is it often has one of the longest lines in the park because it's so low capacity. So it's not worth the wait for me most of the time, but if you can get on it with a short wait, it's fun. It's fun. You'll parachute. Line up if you want some mid-level thrills that don't get too intense but still are fun, but pass up if you've done similar rides, want something a little bit more interesting, because this one is not the most original ride in the world. And our final Toy Story Land ride is going to be Slinky Dog Spin. Now, this is nothing like Slinky Dog Dash in Disney World, which is one of the most popular rides in Disney World. This is actually, it's a pretty popular ride. It's very popular with kids. It does get a long wait because it's very low capacity, but it is notorious for not being worth the wait because it is a relatively short ride where you pretty much just get in Slinky's body and then sort of go around in a circle with some waviness like this. A ride that surprisingly whips you around. Right behind me, Slinky Dog Spin. This is another, pretty much all the Toy Story rides are like, they're not unique like Disney style rides. They're rides you can see like at regular theme parks, just with the Toy Story Spin. No pun intended. This is one of my like lowest priority rides in the park probably. I rode it last time, but it is definitely geared towards kids. It's surprisingly quick. So like it's fun. It's just not anything special, I think. Who doesn't love Slinky? And also the fact there's a Slinky Dog ride that isn't the most popular ride in the park, like ours at home, is funny to me. But pass up on this one if you've got other stuff to do. It's very tame. There are other kid-geared rides in other parts of the park that have a lot more iconic flavor to them. So, yeah. Overall, Toy Story Land, although I really like the theming, especially because they got plants there that really look like giant grass, which I don't feel like they do in Orlando, the rides are kind of meh. It's sort of a breeze through land for me, unless I'm seeking the thrill of RC Racer. Now, what is not a breeze through land is Mystic Point. This is the home of the single best ride in Hong Kong Disneyland. You may have heard of this one before. It is called Mystic Manor. Mystic Manor is Hong Kong Disneyland's replacement for Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion is a lot about ghosts and the afterlife. And ghosts are not considered fun or funky or spooky. They're considered scary and kind of taboo to talk about. So instead of doing a classic Haunted Mansion, which would not bode well with the cultural audience in Hong Kong, Disney decided to do Mystic Manor. Mystic Manor, easily the best ride in this park. It is such a good ride. It's basically their Haunted Mansion because you can't have ghosts. You're gonna see me walk into Toy Story Land. Pay no attention to that. Really incredible ride. The thing that I love so much about this ride is that it does feel like the effects are playing directly to you. The timing is amazing with the music, and it really does feel like you're a part of this little short story, this little scene. And it's an original story, which is always charming. So just a wonderful, wonderful ride. For reference, I've ridden it 6 times on this trip. And I'm probably gonna ride it again. And I've only been in the park for 3 days. So, and that's actually not enough. I should have ridden it more at this point. Mystic Manor rules, and you need to ride it if you're going to Hong Kong. And if you're not, I'm glad you're here to live vicariously through me because it is an awesome ride. Nearby, we have another land that only has one attraction. This is Hong Kong Disneyland's equivalent of Frontierland. It is called Grizzly Gulch, and this is home to Big Grizzly Mountain runaway mine cars. And let me just say, top 5 alert, baby. In fact, this is my number 2, right behind Mystic Manor. Imagine a combination of Expedition Everest and Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, but also there are bears. That's this ride. It's the Expedition Everest ride system. So a very smooth roller coaster, very fast roller coaster with some surprising elements to it, including a section where you go backwards. But it's got the theming of Big Thunder Mountain. You're in a runaway mine car. There are explosives and dynamite. The catch is there are animatronic bears all through this thing. I guess you could say add Country Bear Jamboree to the mix. It is funny and fun and just an incredible roller coaster on its own, even if you take the theming out. And then the theming is so well done. The surprises really get you. Spoiler alert, but there is a part where you are going up a lift hill and a cable snaps and you start going backwards. I didn't know that happened, and I thought we were legitimately going backwards down the lift hill, and I got very scared the first time I rode this. So that'll happen. You should line up for this one if you love roller coasters or you love an original storyline and classic Disney theming at its best. You should pass up on this one if you are not a fan of bigger thrills or if you're prone to motion sickness. So it's not a universal must-do, but just because it is a little bit more of an intense attraction compared to some of the others, even though it is in our top 5, but you know, if you're comfortable with coasters, it's a must-do. Next up, a classic land, Fantasyland. I'm taking my glasses off because it's getting dark and the glare is getting in. I'm trying to be serious, but also now I can't read my notes, so things might get just unhinged from here on out. Now, Fantasyland at Hong Kong Disneyland is a little bit strange. It is a really sweet area, very similar to Disneyland's Fantasyland, but with almost no dark rides. The only dark ride in Fantasyland is the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And this is an almost exact copy of Disney World's Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. There is a ride photo. That's pretty much the only difference. Otherwise, it is so much an exact copy. This ride actually has Mr. Toad handing the deed over to Owl, which is a reference to the Winnie the Pooh ride replacing Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in Disney World, which didn't happen in Hong Kong. So that is how much of a copy it is. That said, this one's a delightful ride. You should line up for this one if you've got kiddos that love Winnie the Pooh. This is one of my favorite dark rides in Disney World, and that rings true in Hong Kong Disneyland as well. You absolutely just can pass up on this one if you've been to Disney World many, many times and are super familiar with Winnie the Pooh. This ride's the same. And if you know you're going to Disney World again, you don't need to use your precious Hong Kong Disneyland time to experience a ride that you have access to over in the United States. Still, it's gonna get a woo from us. Now, just because there aren't a ton of those Fantasyland style dark rides does not mean that Fantasyland doesn't have some iconic attractions to it, like Cinderella Carousel. This is a classic carousel. Disneyland style parks have to have them because a carousel is what inspired Walt in the first place to come up with the idea for Disneyland. Something really awesome about the carousel in this park is that the park's Walt statue is actually situated next to the carousel, and it is Walt showing Mickey the carousel as if he's telling him that this was what made him have the idea for Disneyland in the first place. It is my favorite Walt statue in the world. It is so cute, and the carousel kind of directly interacts with it. Obviously, this is an iconic one. If you want a really great photo in Fantasyland, the carousel can do that for you. Also, if you've got little ones, they love a carousel. So those are lineup reasons, but you can pass up on this one if you're short on time. It really is just a classic carousel, and there are a lot of more interesting rides around the park. Still, I think it's gonna be a woo for us, just because it's, you know, I think it can go woo or meh. I'm on the fence. Disney Worlders might also be familiar with Mickey's PhilharMagic. This is a 3D show telling the story of Donald getting a hold of Mickey's sorcerer hat and things going a little bit wacky after that. Donald goes on a journey through a bunch of Disney movies. You hear the iconic songs. It's a very cute show, and it's very popular here in Hong Kong. So you can see it elsewhere around the world too, including back at Disney World. Very popular here in Hong Kong, so much so that there's actually some really cute PhilharMagic Donald merch that you can buy, like Angry Donald or Donald crashed into stuff, which is a big part of this. So, PhilharMagic. Though it is a great show, I don't know how worth the wait it is. Great for kids, don't know how worth the wait it is. This one's gonna get a woo from us though, because it is a great show and well worth seeing if you haven't before. You thought I was done with classic iconic attractions? No! Madhatter Teacups is here, which is, you know, the Mad Tea Party, teacups. It is the classic teacups attraction. You sit in his teacups, you spin around. Mad Hatter's Teacups. It's like Mad Tea Party, but it's named something different. This is the Teacups ride. You spin in teacups. I love this one a lot. It's got the lanterns that I do feel like Disney World misses out on. Not as good as Disneyland's, which is in that beautiful outdoor little garden, but still super cute and super fun at night. The lights are awesome. You should line up for this one if it's a short wait and you want a quick hit of whimsical fun, but I would pass up on this if it's got a longer wait or if spinning rides make your stomach turn, like me. Another carbon copy ride that you're probably familiar with from other Disney parks is Dumbo the Flying Elephant. Of course, you have to have this ride. This is maybe the single most famous Disney parks ride there is. Great for a photo op, great for pretty views of Fantasyland. Dumbo the Flying Elephant. Is it the most exciting ride in the world? No! Do you fly on the back of an elephant and is that cute and fun? Yes, absolutely a must do. It's one of the iconic Disney rides. That's why you'll find it in pretty much every Disneyland style park. You got cute little Dumbos. I saw Goofy and Pluto flying on this ride the other night, which was so cute. You just have to do it even though it's not the most exciting thing in the world because it is so classic and so iconic. One of my favorite attractions in Fantasyland is called Fairy Tale Forest, and this is a walkthrough attraction presented by Pandora that to me sort of fills the same niche as Storybook Canal Riverboats does in Disneyland, where you get to look at a lot of little dioramas of beloved Disney movies. These dioramas are super cool. They are interactive, so you can often spin little wheels to make effects happen in the dioramas or in the models. Really fun. I love miniatures, so it's just really fun from that perspective. It's also easy to say woo to this one and easy to say line up for it because you won't have to line up. You can stroll right through here and take a look at one or all of the models. It's pretty much a must-do just because it is so easy to do that as you walk by, you can just sort of swing in and take a look. No lining up needed. You don't have to walk through the whole thing. No waiting through the attraction. It's just go see it if you want. Now, I've been teasing the best show in Hong Kong Disneyland, and now I will tell you what it is. It is Mickey and the Wondrous Book. This is a very theme parky show, so it's very similar to lots of shows that have been around Disney parks, where it is live performers, live dancers and singers, along with your favorite Disney character pals, doing a bit of a variety act where you see characters from different Disney stories singing their songs or performing from their movies. I love this show. This is one of my favorite Disney park shows. Live singing kind of variety show, tons of different characters. Basically, you've got this wondrous book that comes to life and brings you into all these different stories. Absolutely incredible performers, singers, dancers. It's a really, really wonderful show, definitely worth doing, and one that you certainly have to line up early for. But I love this show. I saw one of the most incredible performances by Tiana here last time I was here, and it was just great. So yeah, Mickey and Wondrous Book, definitely a good one. This one's super popular. You want to get there about 30 minutes in advance minimum if you want to catch this show because it is so popular. But if you are willing to do a show during your day, you got to line up for this one. Only pass up if you're not willing to do a show at all. This should be your #1 show choice. It rocks. Our final Fantasyland attraction is none other than It's a Small World. It's a Small World in Hong Kong is one of my favorite It's a Small Worlds in the world. I definitely like it better than the domestic It's a Small World. I can't remember if I like it better than Tokyo's or not. And I haven't done Shanghai's, and those are the ones I've done so far. But this is such a good It's a Small World. It's all indoors like Disney World's, but it has the incredible facade that Disneyland has with the clock face. And you go through the countries of the world as the kiddos sing It's a Small World. My favorite part about this one is that one, you get to spot your favorite Disney characters in the ride in the style of the attraction, which is so much fun to do. Disneyland has that as well. And in Hong Kong, it really is a blast. And two, something that's super fun as a US tourist to Hong Kong is seeing the US section of It's a Small World. That's so fun. We don't usually get to see that because we are the US. There's no exciting United States section in the US It's a Small World because why would there be? So that's why I like seeing that on the Hong Kong ride. Line up for this one if you want some Disney nostalgia, a wonderful ride with an earworm, or a peaceful break with some pretty great air conditioning. But pass up for this one if slower rides aren't your thing or you don't really care about the classic Disney history aspects of it. Honestly, I would ride this over most of the other classic Disney rides, if not all. So this one is pretty high up there on the woo scale. The newest addition to Hong Kong Disneyland is World of Frozen. This land comes right off the back of Fantasyland and steps you right into Arendelle on the day of the summer snow day. Anna and Elsa are around. You might see Kristoff. You might meet the little troll Mossy. It's a really cute area with some really great attractions. The first we'll talk about is Frozen Ever After. This is a dark ride that takes place on summer snow day after the events of Frozen 1. And you basically get to be a visitor to Elsa's Ice Palace. You'll see all your favorite characters. And yes, this is almost the exact same ride as they have in Epcot in Disney World. However, there are some key differences. For one, in Epcot, the animatronics have projected faces, whereas in Hong Kong, they have articulated robotics faces. And two, the drop is much steeper. The drop, thrilling in Hong Kong. Very intense, and it does catch you off guard. You should line up for this one if you love Frozen or want to see some of Disney's best animatronics and effects. But you should pass up on this one if you've done the Epcot version and want to focus on attractions that are exclusive to the park. Speaking of attractions that are exclusive to the park, there are two in World of Frozen. The ride is going to be Wandering Oaken's Sliding Sleighs. Wandering Oaken's behind me, very short roller coaster. It's like 45-ish seconds long. Fun because you get to see Olaf and spin, and the coaster itself is fun, super smooth, and has beautiful views of World of Frozen, which is an incredibly beautiful land, particularly with the real mountains in the background. That said, super short, and does tend to have one of the longest waits in the park, so that's not really worth it. But I do like it, I just don't love it. And there is a show in World of Frozen called Playhouse in the Wood, where you go and visit Anna and Elsa's playhouse from when they were kids, and you get to learn a little bit about the spirits of the forest that you might recognize from Frozen 2, as well as Elsa doing a bit of her magic. You might even be selected to help Elsa do some magic. Playhouse in the Woods, this show is an interactive show geared towards kids and families, where Anna and Elsa, you visit their Playhouse in the Woods where they used to play as children. There are some continuity errors with the films with this, because we know that they didn't get to play as children with Elsa's powers, because Elsa had to hide her powers, but who cares? It's fun. Basically, you go with Anna and Elsa to their playhouse where they used to play in the woods. Olaf is also there speaking Cantonese, and you get to do magic with Elsa. There's some interactive elements where you get to identify with the different spirits of the wood. And if you're a fan of Frozen 2, absolutely a must. I love this show. It is not really geared towards adults, but I still had a great time. It's one of those things where I just felt a little bit like a little kid again. I love Frozen, so a great show for me. Not a must-do if you're a party of adults, but if you've got kiddos, if you've got anybody in your party that loves Frozen, make a point to do this. Just be warned, it's still new, it's very popular, and you do need to use the standby pass if you are going to be visiting and trying this one out. At the time of filming anyway. And finally, perhaps Hong Kong Disneyland's strangest land is Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland at Hong Kong Disneyland has had a bit of an identity crisis. It is a little bit classic Tomorrowland, a little bit Star Wars, and a little bit Marvel. Actually, a lot bit Marvel. Tony Stark's Hong Kong campus is there, so lot Marvel. This land is gonna be home to Orbitron. Orbitron is a Dumbo-style attraction, picks you up, takes you around. It's not running this trip, but it's a pretty basic attraction, more geared towards kiddos. Fun because you're in little like flying saucers, which is fun. This land is also home to Hyperspace Mountain, and guess what? That is our final top 5 alert, universal must-do, unless you don't like coasters, of course. This is the Space Mountain in this park, but it is indefinitely Hyperspace Mountain, so it is a Star Wars attraction. There's hyperspeed, there's pew blasters constantly, you're getting shot at constantly. You see TIE fighters, you see X-Wings, you see a Star Destroyer. It's awesome from a Star Wars fan perspective, it's awesome from a coasters fan perspective. It's just fun, it's thrilling, and honestly it was surprisingly fast. Loved this last time I was here. I love it this time. I'm a fan of some Hyperspace Mountain, man. It might be better than any in the States. Don't quote me on that, but you can quote me on that. So universal must do, unless you don't like roller coasters or the dark. Now over to the Marvel section, we've got 2 rides, both of which are unique to Hong Kong Disneyland. So they're getting a couple extra must-do points on that alone. For one, we have the Iron Man Experience. The Iron Man Experience is a motion simulator attraction where you are going to tour the new Stark Tower in downtown Hong Kong. But things go awry when giant robots start attacking the city of Hong Kong, and Iron Man has to come and get you out of the situation. Basically like Star Tours. I don't know, I really liked it. I think that it has like a lot of really fun parts. Basically, it is better than any one Star Tours story, but it only has the one story. It's not different every time you ride like Star Tours is, so I think that it kind of loses out in those points. But some really fun effects. Iron Man is my favorite Avenger, so I love the fact that he has a whole attraction dedicated to him where you get to interact basically with Iron Man. And the other thing that I absolutely love about this attraction is that it ties directly into the land, so much so that when you get on the ride, Iron Man is actually interrupted at his meet and greet, which is right next door, Iron Man Tech Showcase. So Iron Man is in there right now and I could go meet him, but then he's interrupted at his meet and greet on the ride, and you fly over Hong Kong Disneyland before heading into Hong Kong, and it's like you're actually where you are. I really like that about this ride. And it's not a super standout, but I mean, a really cool ride, and it's not anything you can get anywhere else. And last but certainly not least, in fact, this one does make the top 10, is Ant-Man and the Wasp Nano Battle. Ant-Man and the Wasp Nano Battle is honestly a very fun shooter attraction. So yes, shooter attraction. The guns work really well, and the targets actually react when you hit them, which is awesome. Plus, they're a lot easier to aim. It's a lot easier to understand what the higher value targets are. It's just a very like understandable game compared to, you know, some of the other shooter games you don't really know how to get the high points. On this one, it really is more about a skill game instead of knowing the right targets to hit. Pretty much aim for the triangles, those are the highest value, and try to aim well. Plus, it's got a part where you get really small and Ant-Man and the Wasp peek in through a little vent to look at you, and Paul Rudd calls you cute. So, can't argue with that. Most people I think should line up for this one. The only reason you should pass up is if you just have no interest in Marvel or shooter attractions, but it's a fun ride. I don't care for Ant-Man. I never really watched the Ant-Man movies at all, even though I'm a Marvel fan. I like Paul Rudd, but I still enjoy this, even though I'm not super into the world. So it's mostly a lineup. And it's definitely a woo. And that is every ride in Hong Kong Disneyland. For a little recap, our top 5 are Jungle River Cruise, Momentous Party in the Night Sky, Hyperspace Mountain, Big Grizzly Mountain Runaway Mine Cars, and number 1, my beloved Mystic Manor. If you're still here, like this video and drop this secret code in the comments so I know you made it all the way. And don't forget to subscribe. We upload tips, info, games, and more from Disney parks around the world and beyond, because we're serious about fun here. See you next time.